It seems that I've been summoned yet once again to help the neonates, the pleb. Okay, it's been asked several times this very week on how to start a Vampire the Masquerade game. Mainly, this request came from Mr. Mephisto, Jason, and sameøldji, Jean-François, who maybe will start a game soon. So the questions are coming from the same pool of blood, dare I say. So how do you start your own Vampire Chronicle is a subject I know very well. I may have started like 6 or 7 Chronicle in my time. 2 of them being very, very long campaign, like 5 or 6 years. So I did a little online chat with Mephisto, and this video is an answer to sameøldji, who summoned me, who awoke me from my millennial sleep. So here's what I would do if I were you to start a Vampire Chronicle. First, there is the sameøldji effect, where you have a new guy, super enthusiastic about Vampire the Masquerade, who will try to absorb and read all the lore in one night, and after absorbing all these knowledge, all this history, becomes aware of this meta plot that most GM don't use. And suddenly, panic attack, confusion, and how do I deal with so much material? Because I didn't take, like a kindred, didn't take the time to let this knowledge infuse your imagination and do all the works for you. So if we forget about the super enthusiastic players who want, or GM who want to start a Chronicle, let's start from the beginning. What I suggest to start a good Chronicle of Vampire, or any World of Darkness title out there, or any political game, or any game for that matter, it seems to me that you always should start with personal stuff, personal story. My Vampire Chronicle always started the same way, focused on the characters, the PCs, focused on their little troubles and little problems. And after that, after several sessions of resolving around their belly buttons or their own little ego world, you start to open up the world. And as the Chronicle progress, they will make choices. And these choices will have consequences. For example, if you work for one little mission or contract for the Gangrel Elder, and you befriend this Gangrel Elder in some ways. He's very humane. He's very friendly. He's very charismatic. You become friends with him. Although you can play any clans, you start to have a little friendship for this guy, because maybe your vampire is uh, is aiming or questing for humanity, and then afterwards you do maybe a mission for another elders or Nancy Lai or anybody who doesn't like this guy, and now you have an ethical dilemma. Do I do this mission that will be maybe detrimental to this elder, this gangrel that I'm friend with, or do I say no to this guy? Eventually, all the neonates, all the kindreds have to make choices, and these choices have consequences, and these consequences are often you are or you will make enemies, and you will not align yourself with this clan or this faction or this elder, and the game will start to complexify or get more complex as it progresses. So for me, starting the Chronicle is always something personal. You start at the personal level, and then you build on the choices the players make. And politics will eventually come in. After 4 years of playing the same characters again, your players will have maybe now a very good knowledge of the politics of the city, whether they like it or not. They will know to not trust this guy. They will know that this guy over there is half the time reliable. This guy in the front is super reliable because he is loyal to that guy, and they will have figured out the web, and they will now be major power player. But you cannot do that if you don't know the setting by heart, if you don't know all these NPCs by heart, or have had a chat with them. You cannot simulate that unless you have actually experienced it. A common mistake is to start a campaign with this level of engagement, and this is the best way to lose player. Let me read to you 4 pages of introductory ambience text, just to make you feel what's going on in the inner circle of the Elysium. And after 4 pages, I guarantee you will yawn. You will be bored to death, and or you will be too busy taking note to even enjoy the story, and or you will forget 90% of it. So before the neonates even enter the Elysium or present himself or herself to the prince, he should have lived in the city for a while. He should have learned a few tricks or a few tips or insight on what it is like to be a vampire. Vampires are sometimes, in periods of calm, they are very patient creatures. So maybe the prince only receive neonates or new vampire in his city. Maybe he received them just once a year. maybe nobody sees the prince. Some princes are really active in the field and they die often very quickly. The most successful princes will take their time and will not be on the street level. And they will have a lot of allies and companions and friends, and so they can easily order a whole clan to go into hiding, or to send to Justicar after one vampire and bring him back to him. They have that kind of power. They are in a power of authority. So if you want to start a Vampire Chronicle, start on the personal level, and then gradually politics will enter the scheme, whether you like it or not, because vampires are very political creature. Of course, you can always change that but if you want to play the classic Vampire the Masquerade, politics will have an impact at some point. Second thing about starting a game, the book, when you read the book is filled with theme and stuff to use, and it's very tempting to use all that at once, and it's a big mistake. My recommendation is to start small, slowly, and use maybe one or two themes, and eventually change the themes over time. For example, if you want to pit one clan with another clan, this is your theme. It doesn't have to be more complex than that for the beginning. Clan Ventrue and Tremere are at war. This is the theme. So everything will resolve around that. And then 5 sessions later, or 3 sessions later, you send in another theme. Elder Gangrel is missing. Where is he? Some people are saying that the New Jersey Sabbath are maybe involved in it. So if you're trying to throw it all in one basket and try to run this, it's unfeasible. It's like running a Rift with all the world's book at once, or GURPS with all the optional rules at once. Nah, it's too complicated. Start slowly and just build on what is in front of you, and plan ahead a little bit, and introduce material as you go along. It doesn't have to be complicated like that. Vampires are very egocentric most of the time. You must have a very high score of humanity to even be empathic about other people. And on top of that, it's the world of darkness. Everyone is more exalted in their emotions. So concerning the prince and its Sabbath equivalent, the Archbishop, concerning the structure, the politic structure behind Vampire or Camarilla, Kindred Society, the prince generally is all alone, and his job is mainly to bring stability and order to his whole organization. And his clan, of course, will have the advantage of saying, hey, the prince is Ventrue, I am Ventrue, so, you know. But only the most incompetent prince would allow his clan any favoritism just because they share the same blood. This is a mistake. Princes who does that do not last long. If you have a Vanchu prince on the throne or in place, and he starts to favor his own clan, there will be 6 or 7 other clans ready to team up on his ass. The prince's role is about stability. So the prince, for the most part, becomes isolated anyway, because he is now, in some case, the puppet of the elders, in some other case, an active member of the inner circle, or the primogens. And this prince should not favor his own clan. He should be seen as just. He should strive to be perceived as just and fair and apply the law, the vampire law. Otherwise, he risks his own skin. And the same goes for the archbishops in the Sabbath. His own role is to oversee or overlook a diocese or a city, and ensure the rituals, ensure the cohesion of the Sabbath. His role may look like less politics, but it is some kind of a leadership position. So in both cases, the position of leadership requires that the prince or the archbishop tread very lightly. He's walking on eggshells, and he must carefully think about every moves he makes, because any decision he can make can be his last. So it's a position of authority, but also responsibility, and it's not something easy to be a prince. So princes are so important that often they will not greet neonate with open arms. Ah, new vampire in my city. Come, my child. I'm so happy to see you. Princes have so much shit to deal with. They have primogens meeting. They have decisions to make. They must ponder those decisions. They must go out on the streets and propagate some gather some information about what's going on in the street. They have spies that will report to him, so he must take time to listen to these reports and acknowledge these reports. He must judge. He is the law. He must ponder and evaluate if he send a blood hunt on one poor guy or not. So you should treat the princes and archbishops as any maybe politicians. Politicians don't run in the streets unless you're in Australia. And that's a stereotype, but so they should be absent, or when they appear, they should bring meaningful choices or event or decisions, and because these guys have a society to run. So it's not, you can play any kinds of princes. Some are more socialites and dandy, and others are more pragmatic and invisible. You don't see them until it's too late. So yeah. So to answer your questions, dear gentlemen, you should always start your Vampire Chronicles on the personal level. Plan ahead and let politics slither in. And then the role of the prince, it's a very important character in your game, and you should give him some thoughts. You should. Sometimes the first idea is the best also. Ventru Prince, path. There you have it. But how about a Bruja or Bruja Prince or a Gangle Prince? Ooh, that implies so much things.